The Amazigh population is an ethnic group spread in the whole North Africa, known also by its more generic and pejorative term, the Berbers. In Morocco, they represent between 40 and 60% of the total population. The Amazigh people are called Amazighen, and the general name for the various dialects is the Tamazigh. Inside Morocco, we find different Amazigh subgroups in north of Morocco, central Morocco, in the Souss Valley, and in the North Atlantic Desert. Since the 70s, they have been claiming the recognition of their identity in several domains of the state, but their requests have been largely ignored until the year 2001. In the last decade, under King Mohammed VI's rule, they have been recognized certain rights as institutionalization of the Arkam, the Royal Institute of Amazigh Culture. The Arkam was appointed, among other things, to the standardization of the Tamazigh alphabet, the Tifinagh. Since the adoption of the Tifinagh in 2003, school books have been printed and Tamazigh classes have been created in some primary and secondary schools in certain areas of the country. A TV channel with news and cultural programs has also been created, and some road signs in Tamazigh appeared. However, the most significant claim of the Coalition of Amazigh Association has been long ignored. Indeed, the main proposal of the Manifeste Amazigh, year 2000, and of the previous Charte d'Agadir, year 1991, the most important Amazigh documents submitted to the king in the last decades, was the constitutionalization of the Amazigh language. This was not achieved until 2011. During the month of January 2011, the spirit of the Arab Springs streamed in Morocco. An assemblage of civil society groups gave birth to the demonstration that have been eventually named the 20 February movement. The predominant claims of political nature, addressing the monarchical dominance and parliamentary corruption, were accompanied by a minor group of protesters advocating for human rights or identity issues. Among these, the recognition of Tamazigh was the major claim. In direct response to the protest, in March 9, 2011, the King of Morocco, Mohammed VI, gave a speech in the national TV announcing a referendum for the revision of the constitution. The first point of the King's speech addressed the pluralist nature of the Moroccan identity, including the Amazigh identity, and only by the third point he started enumerating the political reforms that would limit the King's power, which constituted the very heart of the 20 February movement. Neither the protest nor the Arab Spring were mentioned during his announcement, which seemed to incorporate the new constitution in the broad range of reforms initiated by the king from his taking office in 1999.
ولا سيما بدسترة التوصيات الوجيهة لهيئة الإنصاف والمصالحة والالتزامات الدولية للمغرب.
In June 17, 2011, the king gave a second speech announcing that the new constitution made of Tamazigh an official language of the Moroccan kingdom, thus apparently fulfilling the Amazigh movement's long-standing claim. The Moroccan people welcomed the new constitution with great enthusiasm. However, they focused on changes about social-cultural issues, the human rights and the institutionalization of Amazigh ethnicity. In other words, while the Amazigh issue was only a small part of the 2011 demonstration, the constitutionalization of Tamazigh became one among the main factors of the Moroccans' support to the new constitution. The majority of the political parties and of the newspapers encouraged its approval in the referendum, although little had been done to limit the king's rule, proving their domestication by the monarchy. On the contrary, nearly all the Amazigh organization motivated their followers either to boycott or to vote no in the referendum. Why? The Amazigh movement's most important critique to the new constitution concerned the unequal status given to Arabic and Tamazight. Although Article 5 listed both of them as official languages, the legislator avoided to attribute them an equivalent title by mentioning them in two separate sentences and by using different formulas to introduce them. In particular, the distinction between the official language of the state and an official language of the state marks a hierarchical relation between the two, where Arabic stands as the primary language of the state, while Tamazight appears to be only one among its idioms. Since the Amazigh movement considered the recognition of Tamazight as a key for the Amazighophone to access further civil rights, this apparently small distinction might be at the basis of additional discriminations that would create first- and second-class citizens. Thus, the new constitution, although having been welcomed as a major event in the context of the Moroccan reforms, failed both to answer the 2011 demonstration requests and to satisfy the historical claims of the Amazigh movement. The Maghraoui, the Moroccan establishment, strategically managed to ensure the people's support to the king by emphasizing the identity achievements of the new constitution and by placing them in the broader context of reforms carried out by the king over the last decades. The 2011 referendum have been used by the Maghraoui as a modern means of popular obedience, a tool to renew the bay'a, the traditional act of allegiance between the king and his subjects. In this way, the new constitution appeased the 2011 protests without answering or even referring to them. Thus, the Amazigh issue has been instrumentalized by the Maghraoui while being emptied from within. As we have seen, while the Amazigh associations insisted in continuing their battle and boycotting the referendum, for the majority of the Moroccan people, a symbolic recognition of Tamazight was more important than a coherent project of linguistic integration. The appropriation of the Amazigh cause by the monarchy has a long tradition in Morocco, starting from Mohammed VI's father, Hassan II. By symbolically answering to its claim, the king domesticates and controls the Amazigh movement, preventing its development into a regionalist project, as it happened with the movement for the autonomy of Kabylie in Algeria. However, the weight of the Amazigh association's discontent might be more significant than what the Maghraoui have foreseen it to be, eventually ending up in a radicalization that might put in danger the social cohesion.